Welcome to Suffering Meatball Chronicles, the podcast where we relive the sound and the sweet chaos of live music. We are your host, Johnny Epiphone, and I'm Rob Henry. And here's the deal. This show is all about concerts we've seen, the stories we've lived, and the moments that made us feel alive, even if the details are a little fuzzy.
We may not always remember the exact dates, the full set lists, or even the band names. Don't judge us, but we remember how it felt. From tiny dive bars to massive stadiums, from legendary acts to that one guy with the harmonica. This is our passion for live shows, loud nights, and the beautiful mess of music fandom.
So grab a drink, settle in, and let's stumble down memory lane. Because even if the facts aren't perfect, the vibes are. Welcome, everybody. I'm Rob Henry, your host, and then Johnny Epiphone
Hi.
is with us again. And we're here to talk about a band from the UK that recorded between 72 and
74 was the first album.
74 was the first album.
With
right. So
Michael.
We're talking about UFO and one of the greatest all-time guitar hero folks that are still really alive, playing into his 70s, Michael Schenker.
Yes.
Michael Schenker. What? Okay, so, I was a kid of the 70s. Johnny, you were a kid of the 70s.
I was a kid of the 70s, yeah.
You were a kid of the 70s. I don't remember rock radio when I was a kid, but I do remember being introduced to UFO in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, I first heard about Michael Schenker, I believe, by reading about him in Cream or Circus magazine. And I was like, who is this guy? He was solo by then. He was with Michael Schenker Group.
Yeah, Michael Schenker Group. And there was a lot of musicians that have gone through the Michael Schenker Group over the
years. But I was curious because I was like, they show a lot of reverence when they mention him in the magazines. And then I remember there was this cool metalhead at school who was wearing a Michael Schenker tour shirt. And this must have been 83. So it would have been the Assault Attack tour that Gary Barden came back and did. And I believe he played at the Bayou then, headlined the Bayou for that show.
The Bayou.
So I don't know. Yes. I don't know how that guy got
DC. in. That's awesome.
I don't know how that guy got in because I don't think he was 18, but we won't question that. But
so for me, it was Mike Henry, my brother, who introduced me to, and it was probably through, they were an age above me. So they all went to high school before I did. So they were a year above me. And him and his friends turned me on to UFO. And it was that Strangers in the Night live album that locked it in for me. And you know what? Seeing pictures of Michael in those magazines with that white flying V in his hair, that was like, the guitar age was at its peak then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It really was.
And
he's a very
his guitar playing.
Guy.
Yes. And his guitar playing just like cut through my soul. And I was a fan ever since. I remember in the 90s when everything changed from LPs to CDs, and Chrysalis had just released all those old CDs in the 90s. And I couldn't wait for that one to come out. And I still have a copy of it sitting on a shelf upstairs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The first Michael Schenker album I purchased was Live at Budokan, the Michael Schenker Group Live at Budokan, which was an import. But I believe I purchased that before I got UFO's Lights Out album, which was the first UFO album I ever bought, which I bought at
Right.
Penguin Feather in the used bin. And
Yeah, penguin feather.
I bought
Oh, that's
Live at Budokan at
penguin feather. Penguin feather. Where in Annandale, or was it in Fairfax?
Fairfax. It was the one at Fairfax. And I bought the Live at Budokan from another used record store that was in Falls Church. The record conversions. It was above a music store.
Yeah, I
I
remember
don't
that
know if,
place.
yeah. Yeah, they ended up having at one point three locations, and the last one being in Fairfax. They opened a Fairfax spot. But yeah, I heard his playing and I was just like, wow, this guy. No wonder they showed such reverence in the magazines because the guy is phenomenal. I mean, ask
Yes.
anybody who's a guitar nut, and his name
Yes.
invariably comes up.
To my soul. To my
Yeah.
soul. I'm so fortunate to have seen this guy, uh, do all the old UFO songs and then come back, you know, a few years later and do all the Michael Schenker Group stuff. Um, you know, I think
And he
that
still puts
album
out good music.
that first MSG album came out in
80.
80, and I just wore it out. I couldn't get enough of it. But I had been, introduced to Strangers of the Night at that point, and when you look at a live album and you have a cover in front of you, and you're a little kid, and you're reading all the liner notes, and you're looking at who wrote all the songs, and you're just listening to for hours, you have a tendency to go back and look at the stuff that created that album. And I kind of did that over the years, buying all those great albums
Oh yeah.
before the live album. Too Hot to Handle, just all
Obsession.
those things. Obsession, yeah, Obsession,
Obsession, Lights Out, Force It, No Heavy Petting, and
Force It,
Phenomenon. I love Force It.
Force It
That's my
with that
favorite UFO
with
album.
that crazy cover of a bathroom with like, yeah,
With
I
two
stared at that
women
for
in the shower,
hours. Yeah, it's the
which
two women in a shower.
they ended up censoring it in America. They
Yeah, I
faded
never
the
saw the
women
two
out.
women in a shower. I'd like to pull that up. That would be funny. Um, so uh, the first time I saw MSG, right, in the 80s, I saw them open up at the Capitol Center, but I couldn't find the date. Most likely it was 81 or 82
Was it
because
Molly Hatchet?
I wasn't driving then. I don't know if it was Molly Hatchet. I want to say it was either Rush or
Oh,
like Priest or somebody to that effect.
wow.
It probably was a Priest tour, and 84 or 83 or 84. Um, but I do remember rocking out. I just could not find the date.
That's really
What was your
cool.
first what was
I
your
didn't
first show?
My first Michael Schenker show wasn't until he got back together with UFO in the mid 90s. Um for some reason I
Right.
never saw him live until then. And then I was like, I gotta go see him because like UFO with Michael Schenker is one of my all time favorite rock bands. I mean, just so many classic songs and classic albums with those songs on it that and they were playing at a club that wasn't very big, so that has good sound or had good sound. It doesn't exist anymore. But I was like, I gotta go. And the album they were touring for, Walk on Water, a great comeback album, one of their better albums, really. And of course, the first person to get that album, your brother Mike, got the
Yeah,
Japanese
Mike.
copy
He
of it.
was the biggest. Look, when I was living in the basement of the Henry House there over in Falls Church, I had a poster There was that bar there, and everything was wood paneling, like halfway up the wall. I don't know if you remember that basement at all.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a poster of Michael Schenker there on the other side of the bar. So when you're looking at the bar, you could see it. And I remember looking at that poster, listening to Michael Schenker back then, you know, with Mike. I believe it was Mike's poster. Um, uh, but I don't know what happened to that poster. I wish I still had it. I went and bought one and put it in the garage. I know you've seen my Michael Schenker
Oh
poster
yeah, it's
in the
one of the
garage.
classic photos of Michael, I
And
should say.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know
classic.
Michael well enough to call him Mike.
Michael, yeah. Yeah, he's always Michael. So I was fortunate enough to in 1990 um, go to Hammerjacks in Baltimore. Do you remember that place, Johnny? Hammerjacks
Oh
in
yeah,
Baltimore?
I spent many a night in that place.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I saw
on
some
this
great
night,
shows. Sorry.
yeah, I didn't travel to Baltimore very much, so it was a big deal to go to Baltimore. And on May 5th, 1990, the Black Crows were playing at Hammerjacks, and MSG was opening. And at that time, I lived in Springfield, um, over there, literally right by the mixing bowl. And it was me and Steve Sladek and my brother Mike and my roommate Chris.
Oh yeah.
And I think Russell was with us. And we all piled in a minivan and drove, 2 hours to Baltimore. And Steve and I are in the back of this thing. And by the time we got there, I mean, it was a different time, right? So, and the windows were dark. We had several beers on the ride up.
Shame on you.
And I do remember Michael Schenker playing. It was it was a really, really good show, and there was a lot of calamity that pursued in the parking lot after that show. But I won't go into any great detail because I'm not proud of what happened. But it was some it was a very memorable show for me because I was with all my friends and my brother, and it was we went to see Michael Schenker, but we got to see Black Crows
Nice,
on
two
top of
good
it. And
bands.
I did find a set list for Black Crows, but we're not talking about them. I could not find a set list for Michael Schenker at Hammerjacks in Baltimore on May
Oh,
5th,
that's a shame.
1990. Yeah.
I'm sure Rock Bottom was on the set list because
Oh,
he
I'm sure it
always
was.
he always
Or
bombs
Doctor
the hell out of
Doctor
that. Yeah.
Doctor Doctor. Yeah. Right. Or what was they had that one big radio hit
Oh, anytime.
anytime, anytime. I think it was that during that tour.
Might have been, yeah, with Macaulay, the Macaulay Schenker Group.
Yes. I'm almost positive because that's how I convinced my girlfriend it's time to go.
Oh
See that
yeah, that
was a
was a big
big
radio
metal
hit.
person. It
Yeah.
was. All right. So the second show, Johnny, do you remember much about this 1995 show that you and I went and saw UFO with Michael Schenker? And I believe all the original people were there other than the drummer.
Yes, Andy uh, Parker was not drumming with them. I believe it had to do with his family business, which I can't remember what that is now. But they own
That's
some.
not important.
Yeah, he didn't do the tour because of that, which was a shame because he is like one of the most underrated drummers I think of the '70s.
Yeah.
He's a
But it was the
he's
other three original members, right? Pete Way and Phil Mogg, right?
Phil Mogg and Paul Raymond on rhythm guitar and keyboards.
Right. Paul Raymond.
And
And I will go on record as saying seeing Michael do this list of songs I'm looking at with you, and Mike was there.
Yes.
Again, my brother, the biggest Michael Schenker fan, UFO fan that I ever met, that influenced me, and just he
Bigger
was a
than
bigger
Eddie
fan than him.
Trunk.
Yeah, he is
Eddie
bigger than
Trunk is
Eddie Trunk.
nothing compared to Mike's love for UFO.
Let's not trash Eddie Trunk, all right?
No, I love Eddie Trunk. I'm just saying that Eddie loves UFO, but Mike worshipped UFO.
Mike worshipped UFO, right? And like I was going to say, is that this show to me was like almost a religious experience to see them do all these great songs
It was.
standing, 7 to 10 feet away from the stage with another 50 people surrounding me, giving off the same energy that I was. It was,
I
it got to
re-
be top 3 shows that I've ever seen. I mean, I must have peed myself a little probably toward the end. That's uh, uh, how great this show was for me, because I had been such a big fan for so long and listened to all these great songs. You know,
Right. Didn't they come out and do like the intro that's on Strangers in the Night, except it was "Hello Springfield. Will you
yeah, I
please
think so.
welcome UFO?" And then they launched in a natural thing, just like on the Strangers in the Night, the original
Yes,
album. And it
yes, and
was
let's
just
explain. Let's explain Jackson Springfield. I don't know if we ever did on our first episode.
I don't we may have mentioned
So
it, but we didn't go into detail.
Springfield's kind of like this interstate town that brings 95, 495, and 395 all together in one big, huge
Mixing
concrete
bowl.
bowl, right? Right there in Northern Virginia. And Springfield's the town that this gigantic mixing bowl was built. And there was a small club called Jack's that was an old movie theater converted into a nightclub. And yeah, cold beer, couple of bars, small little stage, probably held what, 900 people,
And
1,200 people,
the guy
if
who owned it
that.
when it was Jack's was a member of the Road Ducks, Jay Nedry,
Right.
who was a good guy. He
Very
always took
well run club. But
yes,
that but there was like a floor, and then walls around the floor that had 2 bars on either side if you're looking at the stage, and then behind you was another bar with more seating, and then you could walk through a set of double doors and go into like this lounge area where there is another bar where you could kind of get away from the music and hang out. And I believe they let us smoke in there at one time.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure that before the smoking ban went into effect that you could smoke in
you could smoke
clubs.
in there.
Yeah.
Right. So that
Before
was one of our little hometown venues, was Jackson Springfield.
yes, and the I just wanted to give a shout out again to Jay Nedry, who was always took care of my friend Jeff when he came down from Philly, and just was a really nice guy. And
All right. Well, cool.
I can't say anything bad about him because I have nothing bad to say. He ran a good club.
Yeah, that club I see we saw. I mean, I have tickets over here on this wall where I'd seen uh, a lot of shows there at Jackson Springfield.
And Jackson in its later days, people would say, "Oh, it's just has-beens playing there," but no, I mean, they had they had like classic rock bands that maybe weren't in their heyday, but they were not has-beens. There were some great shows there. Um,
Yes, saw a lot of good bands there. All right,
and
so they break into this song, right? All right, all right. All right, so they break into that song. Wait, I gotta just listen to all of these. All right. All right.
I heard
So
she came from Memphis.
she came from Memphis.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to read the set list from that night on September 9th,
Sure, I'll read it.
1995?
They started
We're
out with
talking about, let me just, you're listening to the Suffering Meatball Chronicles podcast. We're getting ready to tell you the set list for UFO with Michael Schenker at a club in Northern Virginia called Jack's on September 9th, 1995.
Yes. They started out with Natural Thing, which Natural Thing was from Force It, right? That kicks off the album Force It.
Yes,
Or
I think.
was it on No Heavy Petting?
I didn't look up that information. I just
Ah,
got the set
I'm
list.
getting confused now. So we'll just stick to the script. Okay. Natural
No, it
Thing
was on
kicked
No
off the
Heavy
set.
Petting. It's on No Heavy Petting.
Oh,
Natural Thing
okay.
is from No Heavy
And
Petting.
then Mother Mary, which is another classic. Then they did Let It Roll, another great song. Then one of my favorite UFO song, This Kids, with In Between. Well, no, they don't do In Between the Walls live. That was like that kind of almost jazzy, mellow interlude that's in the song.
Yes,
But they do the heavy riff
they
part.
do. Yeah, This Kids. Right.
Yes. And then Out in the Street. Then a new
Which,
track.
wait. Let me stop you on Out on the Streets because Mike and I had a thing for that song because there's a line that says, "You can come to my house and sleep on the couch.
Lots of
Lots of
people
people
do it.
do it, and we won't leave." Yes. So we had some friends that used to sleep on the couch. And Mike and I used to sing that to each other. Anyway, Out
That's
on the
awesome.
Streets. Yes.
And then new track Venus from their album they were promoting, Walk on Water, which is a great track. And then another new track, Push to the Limit, also from Walk on Water. And then one of the great love ballads of all time, Love to Love, which was just fantastic.
Yes.
Paul Raymond was killer
Yes.
on the keyboards on that.
Yes.
And then Only You Can
Yes.
Rock Me. Yeah.
This album right here changed my life, man.
That 70s keyboard sound. Analog, baby.
Analog. Yes, analog, baby. Anyway,
No
that's
digital
Love to
no
Love.
digital sounds there. Then
Right. Okay.
they went on to Only You Can Rock Me, which is from Obsession. Then Too Hot to Handle, also from Obsession, I believe. Then Lights Out from the Lights Out album, which is a ripper of a track. Then going back to the first album with Michael, Phenomenon, they did Doctor Doctor, and then an epic version of Rock Bottom, which every time they play that, Michael, yes,
The most epic guitar solo of any rock song. 12-minute solo during Rock Bottom, and I'm sure this particular show was no exception. Sorry, I'm yelling in the microphone, but this guitar solo is amazing.
right.
Anyway,
And every time they play it, he plays the same basic theme, but he shoot, I can't think of the word. He reinterprets it.
yes,
He
it doesn't play the same solo every single time,
no, he plays a
right?
different one every night, and it just
Yes,
depends on how
but
he's feeling is how the solo
it's
goes.
a improved version of what he did in this song in the 70s, right? To
Yes.
me. but it's still the same epic guitar solo that's 12 to 18 minutes long with him just wailing at the end with the keyboards going. Anyway,
And
sorry.
I
That's all.
can't help but to think that every time I hear UFO play Rock Bottom with Michael, apparently that was what led him to leave UFO. Was the last thing he said before he left UFO was poor Rock Bottom, because he wasn't happy with the his playing on the track that they released on Strangers in the Night. He thought his guitar didn't
Uh,
sound as good as it could have, and his playing wasn't up to snuff.
well,
So
it sounds amazing to me.
he was quoted as saying, poor Rock Bottom."
Oh yeah.
But then they
All
then
right.
they
Yeah,
they
the
did
encore.
encore. Shoot Shoot, which is a great track. 245s to pay the bills. And then going back to the early days of UFO, off their first album with Mick Bolton, the guitar player who recorded with them before Michael Schenker, and Come On Everybody, a cover of the Eddie Cochran song.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of weird, but what a phenomenal show.
Well, they used to
Uh,
they used to play "Come On Everybody" when Michael first joined the band. They still played it in their set. I've heard a couple
oh
of
yeah.
live recordings where they played it. Of course, it's Mick Bolton was a good guitar player, but Michael Schenker is just on another level.
Yes. All right. And then according to my tickets over here on the wall, you and I saw him at Jack's uh June 25th, 2009, but it was the MSG band,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Um and I don't remember much about this show. Other than I think you made me wait outside by the bar for a few hours so we could wait for Michael to come to the bar because he knew that there was like four guys waiting for him to try to sign some stuff. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. But I do remember me, and my buddy Al Bud going and seeing Michael Schenker, but it wasn't this show. It was it was
Oh,
a it wasn't as it was more recent than 2009.
right.
But
Wow, I don't have
I
that
can
ticket.
believe that
I do remember that show though. That was
Schenker's.
like 2011 or something like that.
I think it was even later than that.
Really?
But Schenker's notorious for it's kind of hit or miss if he's going to come out after the show and mingle with fans or sign stuff. Um, when I saw him he did a joint tour with Uli Roth, who replaced him in the Scorpions in the '70s, and they did a co-headlining tour. And where did they play? They played at Jack's, and Uli was there like at the merch table before and after he played, and he was very accessible. But we did not see Michael except on stage, which was
Huh.
unfortunate because I would have loved to have told him what he meant to me. Like I got to tell Uli, like your guitar playing, I, I, I don't play anywhere near as well as either of those guys, but I wish I could.
Yeah. Um all right, well cool. You want to talk about the second show here with June 25th, 2009?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and read the set list, Johnny.
All right. We started out with "Ride on My Way," which I'm not familiar with, so it must be a newer track. Um, Probably something he was promoting in 2009, which I'm not sure what album that was. Was that the Unforgiven, maybe? Or was that later than the Unforgiven?
I don't know. I'm not quick with the Google. And then they
Anyways,
did yeah.
"Cry for the Nations," which is a classic MSG track. Then "Let Sleeping Dogs Lie," which is on the Built to Destroy album. And
Another Michael Schenker song that meant the world. This is heavy, right?
yes.
Early 80s, you know? Everything's remastered these days.
Okay,
Right.
then we had Armed and Ready, another classic track off the was that off the second album? Yes.
Yes.
The MSG album, the second album. And then Ready to Rock, which is another crusher. And then I Want You, which is a newer track for back then. A Night to Remember, Into the Arena, which is,
Yeah, that was off the first album, right?
yes, off the first album. It's an instrumental, and he just goes insane on that at one point. The whole band is just clicking and amazing tune, and live it's always gets the crowd going. Then Lost Horizons, which is also off the first album, and then Rock My Nights Away, which was from Built to Destroy. Then
Lost Horizons.
yes,
Sorry.
then On and On, which is a great track, probably one of Gary Barton's best vocals, I think, on
Oh, yeah, that's a great tune.
the studio version of On and On. And then Attack of the Mad Axeman, which no Schenker show is complete without him playing that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that song.
Yeah, that might have been the first Michael Schenker tune I heard on a compilation album from the Reading Festival of 1981 or 82.
Wow.
There was a version of Attack of the Mad Axeman and maybe another song that the Michael
I
Schenker
remember
group did.
that. That's kind of crazy how I remember that album.
Then we had the encores. He did three encores. Dance Lady Gypsy, which was that off one of the Thank You albums? I think it was. I'm not I'm not 100% on that. Don't quote me. Then of course, he went back to his UFO days and did Rock Bottom, always a killer live like we said
Yes, with the
before.
most epic guitar solo of all times.
And then finalized the show with Doctor Doctor cuz we all needed a doctor by then.
Yes. Yeah, I just remember that being a late night. That was fun. Um, I also have another random show that I saw with my brother Mike. You were not there that night, unfortunately, and he came with another guitar player. I forget the name of that band. What was the name of that band that he was in? Shark Attack,
Oh, Contraband.
Contraband. Well, no, I mean, I think I saw them too as an opener somewhere, but this was him like an acoustic tour with a guitar player from I think a band called Shark Attack, or maybe that was the name of their
Shark
band,
Island maybe?
Shark Island, maybe.
There
Um,
there was
and
the singer from Contraband, I believe, was this singer from Shark Island, Paul something or other, Paul Black, maybe.
I mean, it was such an obscure. It was like a Wednesday night at the Bayou in Georgetown, which we talk a lot about in our first episode. That's another iconic uh, nightclub that we would go to see all these great bands. And it was Michael Schenker and this other guy, and they did all the great UFO songs. And I think the guy that it was with, I think he did a couple of songs from his band toward the end of the night. But that particular night, there it wasn't sold out. There wasn't a lot of people there, and Mike and I went there, and before they started, Michael Schenker, the way that I mean, it it kind of looks like any Fillmore that you've ever been in. It's a long hall with a bar on either side and a stairway going up, and then a balcony going around the floor. And we were at the bottom of the stairs, and we noticed Michael at the bar, Michael Schenker at the bar. I guess he was,
Was
getting
he
some seltzer
drinking?
water or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
No, I don't
sure.
think. I think he was getting some seltzer water. He was getting something. He was over there at the bar,
Club
and no one
soda.
really was paying attention. Yeah, club soda. He wasn't really paying attention to him. And then Mike spotted him and like grabbed me and started like going, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. And he came at us. And by that time we were at the bottom of the stairs. And he looked over at Mike and Mike was like, great to meet you. Great to meet you. And I don't freak out over celebrities, but this is Michael Schenker standing in front of us. And my brother is losing his mind. And I kind of shook his hand and said, thanks for all the, great music, you know, love all the stuff you did in the past bands you've been in. And he said, thank you. And he walked up the stairs because, of course, like we said in our first episode, the
That's where the
dressing rooms
dressing
are
room.
upstairs at the back of the hall, right? You
Yeah.
had to walk all the way and go down another set of stairs on the other side of the venue to get to the stage. And he just can't, I don't know. He was downstairs and Mike almost hyperventilated and passed out because he got to meet Michael Schenker. And I do remember the show being like something totally different than I had seen from Michael Schenker as like an acoustic type of thing. It was a pretty memorable show in that aspect. But again, I could not find anything on the Google. If anybody wants to bother to tell me what year that was, I'd be happy to know. But um,
Yeah, that's when he was doing the thank you albums. And he did three or
yes,
four of those that were all acoustic. And
yes,
I'm going to guess that was maybe early 90s.
yeah,
Because
probably was.
I know that when UFO first got back together with Michael Schenker, he played some acoustic tracks off Thank You in Japan when they toured Japan, which was the first place they toured when they got back together before they came to America and Europe.
That's cool. That's really cool. So those are, you know, my memories of Michael Schenker over the years. Um, uh,
Do you want to talk about the
it,
show that me, you, and Al went to at
yeah,
Jack's?
sure. I mean, I don't really remember that show though, Johnny. I don't. I remember being there. I remember you driving.
Yeah, and the thing that bummed me out the most was my back gave out like halfway through the show, and so I went and sat in the front part where there was a bar, and I could hear everything fine, but I couldn't see everything. But my friend Al, who'd never seen Michael Schenker, and I turned Al on to Michael Schenker. He loves the early UFO stuff. Um, and he actually learned how to play Rock Bottom, which
Ah.
I was really jealous of because I've never bothered to learn that song. And when I played in the band with Al, he was playing it one night, and I was like, "Oh yeah!" But that was a good show, man. Schenker was in good form that night. He had a really good band. The guy who was playing keyboards and guitar for him was a really good guitar player as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of great musicians that went through um, Michael Schenker Group, and you've mentioned a bunch of them. I don't, you know,
Cozy Powell was in
I,
the MSG.
yeah, Cozy Powell was an MSG. Yes, he was. All right, well, there's our Michael Schenker episode here on Suffering Meatball Chronicles. Thanks for spending your 40 minutes with us, and we are going to continue to do this because we love telling these stories, and that's what we're doing now.
I just wish my memory was not as fuzzy on some things, because this is always a fun time for me to reminisce about shows.
Yes.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Suffering Meatball Chronicles. Thanks for rolling through the memories with us, no matter how fuzzy the details were. We might not get every date right or remember every band name perfectly, but the energy, the stories, that's what really sticks. This show is all about celebrating the magic of live music, one meatball memory at a time.
Until next time, keep your ears open, your heart loud, and never trust your set list memory after beer number 3 or 4
Or 5 or
or
6.
how many you had in the parking lot, when 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 you had in the parking